Hey everyone, welcome back. So, we are starting with a new series that will be very useful for all students who are preparing for ugcnet psychology exam because in this series I will be covering each and every reference book that you're supposed to study for your preparation, and we will start with first of all with abnormal psychology. I'll be referring to Butcher and Ronald J. Comer's book, and I've prepared my own notes for it, which will be easier for you to understand and learn. So, without any further ado, let's get started with it. So, first of all, let us understand what is abnormal psychology and what we can expect from this very interesting field of psychology. Okay, so abnormal psychology is a branch of psychology that studies unusual pattern of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that may cause distress or that may interfere with our daily life, or also if they can be harmful to oneself or others. So basically we will be talking about all the thoughts, feelings and behaviors जो कि हमारे लिए या हमारे आसपास जो लोग हैं उनके लिए harmful हो सकते हैं, all those disorders and all the things that are counted as abnormal. So first of all, let us see what is abnormality in psychology. It covers 5 major things. First, deviance. Now what is deviance? Deviance is basically किसी normal चीज से आप कितना different है, right? So इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? कोई भी इंसान जिसका behavior, thought या emotions जो है वो significantly different है from what the society or the cultural norms expect from us. For example, if a person is sitting in a quiet room and then suddenly he says that I'm hearing voices, even if no one is speaking. So that is what? That is a kind of abnormality. That is a kind of deviance from others, right? Second point, distress. Now, what is distress? Distress is psychological suffering experienced by the individual due to abnormal behavior. अब एक इंसान को जब लगता है कि वो कुछ डिफरेंट है बाकी लोगों से, तो उसको क्या फील होगा? ही वुड फील anxious, he would feel sad, he might start panicking or fearing from the situation or even from himself or herself, right? So this is distress. Third is dysfunction. Now why dysfunction? किसी भी abnormality की वजह से जब एक पर्सन की डेली फंक्शनिंग लाइफ में, उसकी सोशल लाइफ में, उसकी पर्सनल लाइफ में लोगों के साथ किसी भी चीज में इंटरफियरेंस आए और डिसफंक्शन हो, तो we can say it will have a negative impact upon that person. For example, if a person is facing severe depression, they might be unable to get out of bed. They might feel that they just want to lay, they just want to sleep. People might start considering them as lazy, but actually, what is it? It's just their mental space. They are in a depressed state of mind. Now, fourth thing in abnormality comes danger. Now, once we know that there's some deviance, some difference in the person, because of which the person is feeling distressed and it is also affecting their daily life, causing dysfunction, what happens next? That person might become dangerous. Dangerous for who? Maybe for themselves. Maybe they try to harm themselves, like suicidal tendencies, or they might be harmful to others, like showing some violent aggression. Okay? The final one is the elusive nature of abnormality. So basically we can say कि क्या चीज़ नॉर्मल है और क्या चीज़ एबनॉर्मल है, ये चीज़ डिफाइन करना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, because every culture, every society, every history is different and their context of normal and abnormality is different. That's why we say that the nature of abnormality is very elusive. Okay, so this was a basic crux of what abnormality is psychologically, right? Next we'll talk about treatment. Now what is treatment? Treatment is a systematic procedure designed to change abnormal behavior into more adaptive behavior. ट्रीटमेंट क्या होता है? हम कोई फिजिकल इलनेस के लिए जाते हैं डॉक्टर के पास, तो उससे ट्रीटमेंट लेते हैं. क्या ट्रीटमेंट लेते हैं? मेडिकेशन लेते हैं. क्यों? सो दैट जो भी इलनेस है, जो भी डिजीज है, लेट्स से फीवर है, आप उसके लिए पैरासिटामोल ले रहे हैं. व्हाई? सो दैट सिम्टम्स रिड्यूस हो सके, हमारी वो इलनेस ठीक हो सके, राइट। मेंटल इलनेस के केसेस में भी, abnormalities के केसेस में भी वी नीड ट्रीटमेंट, एंड that treatment is of various kinds, and basically we can say it is a systematic procedure जिससे abnormal behavior को हम change कर सकते हैं into more adaptive behavior. सो इस ट्रीटमेंट का गोल क्या होगा, फाइनल गोल हमें क्या चाहिए होगा, वही जो चीजें हमने पहले ऊपर डिस्कस करी हैं उसका ऑपोजिट, दैट इज डिस्ट्रेस को रिलीव करना, जो डेवियंस है उसको रिड्यूस करना, जो डिसफंक्शन है उसको फंक्शनैलिटी में लेकर आना, फंक्शनिंग को इम्प्रूव करना, और ओवरऑल क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ को इम्प्रूव करना, एनहांस करना. Okay, so now you have a basic idea of what abnormality is, right? So now let us just go into more depth in this field of study. सबसे पहले ये देखते हैं कि हिस्टोरिकली एबनॉर्मैलिटी को कैसे स्टडी किया जाता था, या कैसे परसीव किया जाता था, या कैसे ट्रीट किया जाता था. सो I'm sure you must have watched in movies and serials that in ancient times, abnormality was considered as possession by evil spirits. Like all the horror movies that we see that the person is said to be possessed by some ghost or some demon, because of which they are behaving abnormal, right? So in older times, in ancient times, it was treated by exorcism. What is exorcism? Indian language में हम उसको क्या बोलेंगे? जैसे कोई रिचुअल्स है, कोई तांत्रिक प्रैक्टिसेस है, उसके थ्रू दे आर डूइंग समथिंग समथिंग एंड दे आर ट्राइंग टू extract that evil spirit out of the body, right? So that was the ancient view of abnormality. Next is what Greeks and Romans thought about it. Now Hippocrates said that mental illness is due to the imbalance of four humors, which is blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. These are four humors because of which he said that there was imbalance that created abnormality. और इनको ट्रीट कैसे किया जा सकता है, अगर आप एक्सरसाइज करें, आप अच्छा डाइट लें और रेस्ट करें, तो ये जो फोर ह्यूमर्स हैं बेसिकली इंडियन लैंग्वेज में, जैसे हम अगर बात करें इंडियन वेदास एंड पुराणास में, इसको क्या बोला जाता है, फोर तत्व या फोर गुणास. वी विल बी स्टडीइंग इट लेटर ऑन एज वेल. सो दिस इज सिमिलर टू दैट. So if you take good care of yourself, you can get out of this abnormality and live a normal life. Now what Europe's view was in the Middle Ages, they also considered abnormality as supernatural, and they explained it through witchcraft, possessions, and demons. Okay, and again the treatment was religious rituals, exorcism, torturing, or witch hunting. You must have heard about the Salem Witches Act and all that stuff. So that was during that time. Next came the Renaissance era and the rise of asylums. Now, after this time, there was more humane approach towards abnormality, right? People were considered not as demons or as possessed beings, but as normal humans who needed care, right? So there was a rise in asylums. But still, we can say that those asylums were so overcrowded that they were not able to take care of people well, and still there were inhuman practices going on at that time. Then came the 19th century. There were reforms, and moral treatment was led by Philip Pennell and Dorothea Dix. They emphasized on kindness, morality, guidance, and structured activity. So, the abnormality was approached in a more structured way, in a more scientific way. And then, at last, in the early 20th century, there was emergence of somatogenic perspective. That is, they concluded that mental illness was because of something physical, which is the brain, and the psychogenic perspective, that is, the psychological causes behind mental illness were also considered. It was at this time that Sigmund Freud's theories started publishing, and he talked about trauma and all those things. So, the treatment that was offered during this time was biological, that is ECT and lobotomy, also the psychodynamic approaches. So, we can say both electroconvulsive therapy and psychoanalytic therapy was offered during that time. So, this was all about how abnormality was viewed and treated in past. Now let us see the current trends in this. after 20th century, we saw that there was a shift from institutionalization to community care. Though it was often inadequate, but still, proper medication was offered, antipsychotic drugs, mood stabilizers, everything was there to treat the patients and help them live a better life. Eventually, we also came for solution for less severe disturbances like outpatient therapy, counseling, psychotherapy, self-help, online therapy. So we can say that there have been a lot of advancement from a time when abnormality was considered as evil spirit to considering as bodily fluids, then witchcraft, then some humane treatment to the modern psychology and medication. So this was all the basics that you need to know about abnormal psychology and what we will be discussing in detail in the upcoming videos of this series. So yeah, that's it. If you have any doubt, feel free to leave a comment and I will make sure that I resolve all your queries. So yeah, that's it. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends and do subscribe so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. Goodbye.